Thank you for staying with us. The Director General of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Segun Ajayi-Kadri, has commended the Ogun State government on its proactive and sustainable approach to managing plastic waste, especially single-use plastics in the state. Expressing appreciation on the government initiatives aimed at reducing plastic waste, promoting recycling, and ensuring a cleaner environment, he particularly noted the resolve of the ministry to partner with manufacturers and other operators in the plastic value chain to advance its Waste to Wealth initiative. These efforts, he says, aligns with M.A.N's commitment to environmental sustainability and responsible manufacturing practices. The Ogun State government approach was presented by the Commissioner for Environment, Mr. Reconsider, recently in Abuja during this year's commemoration of the World Health Day with themes Beating Plastic. In his remarks, Mr. Reconsider highlighted Plastic for Cash and Blue Box initiative as subsets of their sustainable approach to managing waste and converting the same waste to wealth in the state. Director General of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria is my guest. Mr. Segun Ajayi-Kadri joins me live from Abuja. Thank you so much, DG. It's good to have you on this topic of discourse.
Thank you, Tolu. It's always a pleasure to be with you on your show.
Thank you so very much, DG. I think we should start with what this means if this is to be banned outrightly like the government wants to do in Lagos. If that happens, what does it mean for the manufacturing industry? Because we know, of course, that many manufacturers use these plastic bottles. So tell us about the impact, what it means for the industry.
Okay, so Tolu, plastic is actually a very important aspect of life across the world. It serves the purpose of packaging both liquid and solid materials and is used by all classes of people. So to understand that, why you produce plastic is to serve a purpose. Yeah. And so when you impose a ban, it constitutes a major disruption for manufacturers, for wholesalers, for retailers, and for end users. So for us, it means, for instance, closing down all those industries that are engaged in the process of manufacturing those classes of plastics you have banned. It also means that those who are involved in the value chain, the wholesale and the retailers, are put out of business. And then the end users are not able to use the products for conveying their items of trade. Unfortunately, in this part of the country, it is affecting mostly women-led businesses and those who relate in the retail end of it. Not to mention that those people who work in those factories where those plastics are being produced, of course, we have to lose their jobs. Governments will lose revenue. The value that is being created as an addition to the national wealth will be lost. And also we will have lost a segment of our innovation and industrialization trajectory. So it constitutes a major disruption that is needless. And that is the aspect that is really worrisome, because you don't have to do the ban.
It's a good way to start this conversation. Ogun State is going ahead to promote recycling. I thought we also had a circular economy, should I say ministry, or under the Ministry of Budget in Lagos. I think they should have also keyed into that. Waste to cash. Yesterday I reported something from the NADDC, a report that we used on the news, talking about how they can resell car-used oils, car-used tires, and all of that, instead of just dumping them or throwing them away. So why are we not thinking of recycling at this with regards to plastic?
Tolu, that is the way of the world. And that's why we are encouraging, advising, and trying to collaborate with Lagos State government for us to travel on that pathway. Because you have waste. You have said it's a challenge, which, by the way, is a failure of the waste management system. But you have the waste. Now, we are saying there's an opportunity for you to incentivize the creation of an economy around it, the one that empowers you to produce, for you to recycle, and for you to upcycle, for you to engage in another value chain that is completely different from waste. So you move from waste to wealth, rather from waste to penury. Because all those wastes that are usually displayed as excuses for the ban are actually raw materials waiting. There are some countries in the world that are actively, particularly Sweden, that are actively looking for waste for them to be able to recycle. The global market for plastic waste is $55 billion. Why are we not going to be part of that value chain? Why are we trying to limit the performance of our domestic economy? You did mention Ogun State. What Ogun State has done is to apply wisdom in the management of waste. If we incentivize people not to dump their waste indiscriminately and that they can make money by doing so, they will definitely do so. And that's what is being done by the Blue Box and the process that the Ogun State government has put in place. And we are just encouraging that Lagos State has more than 20 million people. There are so many people that are jobless, particularly young people. So you can incentivize them to go into that industry of collecting waste, those ones that you will have banned. If I were in their shoes, I would rather advise people to produce more plastics. I mean, so that we have more recycling. In Nigeria, we just have only about 15% recycling rate, whereas in Germany it's up to 68%, and in the UK it's 57%. So we should copy the right things and look at the reality of the environment in which we live to be able to put out policies of government. We shouldn't go for simplistic solutions that at the end of the day leaves a huge percentage of the people involved in the value chain to lose their livelihood. I mean, that is the message we are trying to pick. And you could see a whole industrial ecosystem being formed around plastics that you have already said you are not able to manage.
This is indeed worrisome because looking at global best practices, like you said, Egypt, Ghana, United States, and all, they're focused on secular innovation and secular solutions, innovation, and education. So where do we go from here, DG? Ogun State is coming up with another initiative, which we've commended. Is there still an opportunity to dialogue with the state government? What is M.A.N thinking to do next to avoid the negatives of this if instituted?
We are always very happy to work with the government, particularly Lagos State government. It's not a debate. Lagos State is the biggest economy in the country. It can actually compare with some African countries in terms of the strength of the... So we are always very happy to collaborate with them, but it should not be a monologue. You know, it should not be a situation where the only option we have is to comply with a predestined ban. And it is not for us to abandon the extended producer responsibility program that we have in favor of a simplistic and, if I may say, quite unimaginative approach of imposing a ban. So we want to have a collaboration that takes into cognizance all those that are involved in the value chain. It's not only manufacturers, but we have people who are in the wholesale, in the retail, and in the end users. More so that there's no alternative to all of this. As a matter of fact, if you are concerned about the environment, the alternative you have is even more environmentally devastating. You have paper, you have glass, and you have aluminum. All of those will require more energy, they require more assertion, and they are also contributors to the environmental challenges that you are talking about. Even in the video that is showing on the screen, you can see that it's not only plastic. There are so many other ways that are not being well managed. So I believe that we should focus on those ones that would allow everyone to survive. Government will earn more revenue from the recycling companies. I mean, we have 2 companies that have closed in Lagos State because they do not have enough plastics to recycle. I was recently on a trip to Kano and some other locations. We saw massive recycling companies that are recycling everything paper. And it comes out very clean in a circular atmosphere. So I believe that that is what we should focus upon. I see Lagos State collaborating with us in such a way that we become the #1 recycling center in Nigeria, and we have an opportunity of first movers to be able to direct plastic waste to Lagos for recycling. I mean, this is something you can do that you will never have to import your raw materials. You will never have to do with the rigors of escalation in dollar rates, in interest rates, and so on. You just simply incentivize people to be able to engage in this area that you literally have your raw materials flying all over the place. I mean, that should be a manufacturer's delight. And it will mark a very important aspect of public-private sector collaboration. The environment will be cleaner. There will be people benefiting from the business. There will be a value chain that is created. Government is going to earn revenue, and everyone is happy. People who have had a bleak atmosphere and outlook on their businesses will suddenly have to smile. There's no reason for you to impose the ban. And that's exactly what we want the Lagos State government to consider.
Hopefully, this will be resolved on a round table before this ban is implemented. Well, before I let you go, we saw also a pause with regards to the FRCN issue. I thought we had that discussion at the time, and government is staying on that there should be a pause on that until further, I think, more consultations will be held. What other issues are really burning, reacting, affecting manufacturing at this very time, where IMF is coming up with a bit of pretty report around Nigeria's outlook?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, we must commend the Tinubu administration for always listening to the plight and reasoning with the manufacturing sector and even the private sector. It is important for us to continuously work together so that we appreciate the concerns that these sectors have. And we try to work together to co-create an atmosphere that makes business very conducive. So we commend the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. We also commend Mr. President for putting his weight behind that assertion. You see, the introduction of that FRCN charge is a bad one. And I believe anytime we identify such things, we should just get them out of the way so that private people who are struggling and confronted with numerous challenges will be able to go on with their businesses. So having done that, we actually encourage Mr. President to ensure that we do not also have these kind of distractions. Thank God the tax laws have been signed and implementation will soon commence. My advice would be that all ministry, departments, and agencies of government should wake up and smell the coffee. They should see the direction that Mr. President is going, and they should follow suit. We shouldn't have all these arbitrary imposition and quite unhelpful distractions for the struggling manufacturing sector in particular and the private sector. So we look forward to also having a constructive dialogue around the 4% FOB that the customs is charging. You see, you cannot use such an initiative, to undermine the tariff structure. We have 0%, 5%, 10%, 20%, and 35% levy. Immediately you impose this charge, you have altered the equilibrium. Those raw materials that we import at 0% automatically becomes 4%. That cannot be the intention of government. Intermediate products that are coming at 10% becomes 14%. And you know, we are trading with other nations. We are involved in CET within the West African sub-region, and there's AFCFTA at the continental level. We cannot use local initiatives like this to distort the process and confuse the manufacturer who has already projected from January to December. So I think that we need to mainstream government policy in such a way that it supports private initiative and private projections. That's the purpose of what has made. And I believe that working closely with the private sector, we can always have these exchanges that does not allow any setback from the stability and the potential progress that lies ahead of us.
I must thank you so much, DG, Mr. Segun Ajayi-Kadri, DG Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Thank you for your time. I wish you all the best. Stay safe.
Thank you, Tolu. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you so very much.